Hey there. You come here often? Sorry. What was I even going to talk about? Okay, yes. Desalinization. In college, the first one of these ideas I had where I was like, "Oh, I am so smart. I'm brilliant." And it like came to me right as I was about to fall asleep, and I had to get up and do a whole bunch of math and research was reverse osmosis. Requ- Sorry. This was that end statement. The idea is with reverse osmosis, you need like 1,000 psi to make it work well. You can probably make it work for desalinization at like 450 psi. Unadvisable because the salt will clog the filter. You need a lot more flow than you should just to be sure that the water carries away the salt that would build up. Anyway, for this idea, I was like, oh, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of electricity required to pump that water out of the ocean, which really sucks because most of our electricity comes from boiling fresh water. So, to a certain degree, it seems like a better solution would be to just import the water or something. I don't know. But it just seems like a bad idea to boil water and then get energy loss to then use the energy to draw out more water with more energy loss. Anyways, I was like, how can we reduce the pressure? And I was like, well, there's pressure in the ocean. If you've ever gone diving to the bottom of a pool or anything like that, you know there's pressure. Can we use that pressure? And obviously, if you stuck the pipe at the bottom of the ocean, some amount of the air getting displaced as it went through the filter, I'm sure it would have enough pressure. But as it fills up, the pressure goes down because it fills with water. And then I thought about it, and I was like, but salt water is denser than fresh water. So if the density is less and it's separated, could we use the weight of the ocean to desalinate it? The short answer is kind of, but no. The long answer is that you can, but it has to be very deep. And I'm like, the ocean's deep. But when you run the numbers to get that small figure, not the good figure of like 1,000 psi, but like the 450, right? The workable number if somehow you got enough water flowing by to keep the whole thing from just clogging. Uh, I was running the numbers at like 2 in the morning, and the only place on Earth that this would work is in the Marianas Trench. And before I know about even the salt issue, I'm like, how would we put this in the Marianas Trench? Who would pay for this? I mean, Japan is like right there. Would Japan pay for this? And apparently they do have like a drought. I don't know. It's been like at least a couple years since I looked this up. So I'm just going to make up a number. I think it's like every like 10 to 15 years they have a pretty severe drought. So I was like, maybe they would pay for it. Maybe. And it's not the most unrealistic idea because it shouldn't crush itself because as it goes down, it gets more and more filled with water. So the worst of the pressure is just going to be on the water itself inside. So it shouldn't crunch, I don't think. But the two there's already big issues here. Yes, there's already very big issues, but the two bigger issues than just getting it there into the Marianas Trench, which I would assume you just slowly drop it down, just weigh it down, and just slowly sinks. The biggest issues are that flow rate. There's no flow in the Marianas Trench. You would need some kind of infrastructure down there, which is not just improbable, but very, very close to impossible currently. And then, second, people would not like that. Like, I'm a sustainable technology major. I had a few years of sustainable development. Very reasonably, like, for the smallest amount of fresh water possible, you would not go down there and disturb all of that environment that is like the only spot for that biodiversity in the world. You just wouldn't do that. Uh, so yeah, to flush that idea down the toilet. But at the time, I felt so smart for the idea that just the simple. I had like an epiphany at night, and I was like, you know what's lighter than water? Other water. And I'll leave you on that self depreciating note.